I'm back in the village of Pontrhydyfen in the scenic Afan Valley in Wales. This is the birthplace of the legendary Hollywood actor Richard Burton. But today I'm talking about another former resident of the village, Ivor Emmanuel, the musical theatre performer and actor. He's best remembered for his role as Private Owen in the 1964 film Zulu.
You think the Welsh can't do better than that, Owen?
Well, they've got a very good bass section, mind. But no top tenors, that's for sure. Let's stop your dreaming.
I was in the village just under 2 years ago, making a video about Richard Burton. Since then, it seems that they've spent a lot of money placing plaques around the village regarding Richard Burton. There's a flag here as well. Seren Cymru ar byd, Star of Wales and the World. And this is actually Bethel Chapel. Richard Burton's funeral was held in Switzerland. And there was a memorial service here shortly after his death. And if I just come round here, there's actually a plaque here remembering Richard. In 1984, hundreds of mourners, including locals, fans and A-list stars, gathered here to bid farewell to Richard Burton. And there's a photograph there. The chapel has been converted into a cafe now, although it seems to be closed today. And since I was here last, they've placed this memorial bench here for Richard Burton as well. There's actually a film set to come out next month about Richard Burton. The film's called Mr. Burton, and they did film some of the scenes in the village, including here on this bridge, I believe. Just on this hillside now, overlooking the village. Richard Burton was actually friends with Ivor Emmanuel, and they even lodged together in London for a short period of time. It was actually Burton who encouraged Emmanuel to pursue a career in show business. And I think he was instrumental in getting Ivor Emmanuel his first audition in London. Ivor Emmanuel was born in Markham near Talbot in 1927, but he moved to the village of Pontrhydyfen as a young child. On May the 11th, 1941, an unspeakable tragedy happened to Ivor Emmanuel's family. The family home was destroyed by a German bomber. The stray bomb was probably intended for an industrial target, either in Port Talbot or Swansea. Ivor's mother, father, grandfather and sister were killed. Only Ivor and his brother survived, and they were rescued from the rubble by two miners, Moch Jones and Aneurin Jones. And apparently the two brothers were sleeping upstairs at the time, so I presume the bomb didn't directly hit the house, but more likely it landed either in the front or the back garden. Ivor's sister was only 2 years old. After this incident, he was raised by his Aunt Flossie. Before Richard Burton encouraged him to embark on a singing career, he had worked in a coal mine and also at a steelworks. He began his professional career in musical theatre with early roles in productions like Oklahoma. He became popular in London's theatre district after appearing in productions such as South Pacific and The King and I. But it was his weekly bilingual TV show Land of Song that made him famous. The programme had a weekly audience of 10 million people. Later in his career, he would work briefly on Broadway. Despite this, he's best remembered for his only film role in the film Zulu. In the early 1980s, he moved to Spain for his retirement. Sadly, he lost much of his life savings when the Barings Bank collapsed in 1985. Ivor Emmanuel passed away from a stroke in Malaga, Spain on July 20th, 2007. He was 79 years of age. He was survived by his wife and 3 children. I had hoped to visit the grave of Ivor Emmanuel in this video, but unfortunately he's buried in Spain. If you've watched my earlier video from the village, you'll know that Richard Burton's parents are buried in this cemetery. And at one time there was a pact between Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor that they would both be buried in this cemetery. But of course that didn't happen. Richard Burton was buried in Switzerland, and when Elizabeth Taylor died, she was buried in Forest Lawn Cemetery in Los Angeles. Richard Burton's birthplace is the house just in front of me with the scaffolding. Last time I was here, there was a sign here with Richard Burton, Ivor Emmanuel and Rebecca Evans' names, and since then they've placed a new, much better sign. Rebecca Evans is an opera singer, by the way. She was also born in the village. I wanted to talk about Ivor Emmanuel in today's video, but this is also kind of a follow-up video to the video I made a couple of months ago about the actor Stanley Baker, who played the lead role in the film Zulu. I didn't realise at the time, but a small but significant part of the film Zulu was actually recorded in Wales. So I'm going to retrace my steps to one of the locations I visited in the previous video. Just wanted to get a shot of this before leaving the village. Welcome to Pontrhydyfen, birthplace of Richard Burton. It's kind of amazing how many famous people the Port Albert, Swansea area has produced. You've got Richard Burton, Ivor Emmanuel, Bonnie Tyler, Michael Sheen, and Hannibal Lecter himself, Anthony Hopkins. Not forgetting Catherine Zeta-Jones, who's from Swansea. Now, Pontrhydyfen is not a very big village, but somehow I managed to miss this completely. Just had to stop here to admire the view on my way to the next location. It's hard to believe that the South Wales valleys are the most densely populated part of Wales. I believe that 25% of the population live in the 19 or 20 valleys that make up the area that's referred to as the valleys. There's some pretty amazing scenery on the high ground in between the different valleys. Now I'm by St Gwynno's Church in the Rhondda Valley, not far from the town of Ferndale. Last time I was here, I was making a video about Ivor Emmanuel's co-star in the film Zulu, Stanley Baker. Now I came here because Stanley Baker's ashes were scattered a short distance away from the church, but also because there's a connection to the Battle of Rorke's Drift, as there's a gentleman who fought in that battle who was actually buried in this cemetery. Unfortunately, he's in an unmarked grave. But at the time I didn't realise that there was another more direct connection to the film Zulu. A piece of film history was made here just outside the walls of the church. I'll just go and show you something. Brace yourself, it's exciting stuff. Bear with me a second. In the film Zulu, there's a memorable scene where Ivor Emmanuel led the singing of Men of Harlech. And this is what I want to show you. There's a pub right next to the church, and this is the pub car park. I know, exciting stuff. But this is actually where the recording for the song Men of Harlech for the film was actually recorded. And both, obviously, Ivor Emmanuel was present, but Stanley Baker was also here during the recording, as he was also a producer on the film.